Power BI career path. Remember, Power BI is a common reporting environment for a lot of backend technologies. It will be Excel, or it can be other files or database storage technologies, ERP technologies like Salesforce, SAP, etc. Power BI has its own tool for design activities with extensions called DAX and Power Query. We can also design reports using Excel. We call them analytical reports. Power BI has its own gateway, and Power BI has its own app interface. We have Power BI apps. These apps are going to bind or group reports, dashboards together for easy end user analytics. Users can even do their own self-service BI, meaning cook their own reports apart from consuming the existing reports. These reports and data sets, also called semantic models, will be the main source of information for dashboards. Dashboards are the information for app. To ensure app is up to date, we use gateway. Gateways are supported by Salesforce, SAP, AWS, Snowflake, Azure, SQL, and files. A lot of sources. And from here, how to plan our resume? Well, there are multiple options. Let's make it simple and straight. Here it is. I'll take Power BI. I'll take Power BI as one technology. And this Power BI can be used by 4 different types of data sources. Okay, 4 different types of data sources. This Power BI can be used by 4 different types. Here we have database types. I'll paint it as database types. OLTP databases. Okay, this one. And other one we have. I'll put like this. Other one we have big data or data warehouse technologies. Data warehouse is nothing but big data. And of course, it has analytical data sources also, like Azure SSAS, Cosmos DB, etc. So this is OLTP databases and data warehouse databases. Next, one more we have file system. Okay, we can have file system also. I just mentioned this way. This is a file system. Coming to file system, for example, Excel file, CSV file, etc. This is a file system. And we can also get this Power BI content from other data sources. This one, other. Like for example, websites. Part of our course, website. It can be from Power Apps, from Google Analytics, from Facebook, Zoho, LinkedIn, etc. From there also we can get the data. File system means here Excel, CSV, PDF, or DAT, JSON, AVRO, Parquet if you are into data engineering, etc. Like this. So see here, Power BI is a common reporting platform for a good number of data sources here. Now, question, how to plan our resume? Here it is. For example, you take data sources. I'll just include some data sources here. Two types of files, small files and big files. Sometimes file contain multiple sheets, the third type. Small, big. For example, Excel, we have multiple sheets. Any type of data Power BI can handle. Small, big, and multi-sheet data. Same way apps. Power BI can read data from real-time apps. Either cloud app, it can read the data, or it can read the data from a regular desktop app, something like this. Cloud as well as desktop mobile apps. It can read the data. Or it can also read data from other storage platforms like website, web pages. Okay, something like website or web pages. You have a CSS or HTML web page. We can read the data into Power BI. If it is OLTP, you have multiple OLTP technologies in this market, different OLTP technologies. For example, here we have MS SQL, SQL database, SQL server. This is OLTP. Same way, we can get the data from into Power BI, we can get the data from Oracle, OLTP. Same way, we can get the data from, for example, MySQL. It's a different DBMS altogether, OLTP, Sybase, and we can get the data from Postgres, OLTP. We can get the data from other regular on-premise data sources. Out of all these, MS SQL preferred because Power BI has something called report server. That report server requires MS SQL server. And additionally, we have Azure. We are talking about OLTP, cloud, Azure. I'll just paint it like this. Okay, something like this. Cloud, Azure SQL DB. Same way, we have this Azure SQL database. Same way, we have something called Amazon Redshift. Sorry, not Redshift, RDS. OLTP we are talking about. So what are these? These are all cloud data sources, OLTP, or on-premise data sources, OLTP. What about data warehouse? Coming to data warehouse again, there are different variants. One is SQL server. Yes, we have SQL server from MSBI, non-cloud warehouse. Or we have SAP BW, OBI, Oracle BI systems. Okay, OBI. So any job requirement, usually end-to-end integrations may touch base with any of these data sources. And we have cloud. Cloud comes Synapse, Redshift. What is it? Redshift. These are all warehouse. And we have something called as Snowflake. It's a warehouse again. And we have Spark. Part of our data engineering course, we have Spark. Spark is an open source warehousing environment. For example, let me put this way. Part of our data engineering classes will be learning how to use Power BI with Spark. I'll show you just to get some idea. Yep, here it is. Just to get some idea, okay? I think I have it here. I can put this one, Power BI. Yep. So we can easily get the connections from Power BI and Spark. There will be a specific connection called personal token cluster, Spark cluster. It's nothing but cloud computing. So in job descriptions, if you see cloud compute, it's nothing but warehouse, cloud warehouse. Very easy and straightforward activities. Databricks with Power BI. There comes something called Spark cluster. So what we do in Power BI, we need to simply say get data. Okay, get data, search Spark and do the connections. Same way we have something called Snowflake. Okay, see here, Redshift, Amazon Redshift, Snowflake, Spark, Synapse. These are all cloud warehouses. And SQL Server have both OLTP as well as warehouse variants. So one single Power BI can work with multiple data sources. Now comes the question, Sai, what about Python? For data analysis, we go for Python. What is that? Where it is? Yes, here it is. Python comes in Power BI data access. Python can access data from everywhere, anywhere. The border can be imagined as a Python. It's not a protection layer. No, it is only a data access component. We can read data using Python. We can write data using Python. Using Python, I'll just show you this way. Using Python, we have something called as in our classes, Python file handling. We can handle files. Same way, we have something called Python data connections. We can handle Python with SQL Server, Python with Power BI, Python with apps, real-time apps, Python with various studios, Data Studio, Visual Studio, Management Studio, etc. So Python is not a data storage component. Python is a data access, data cleansing component. So, for example, if I include an arrow mark like this, let me include an arrow mark like this. Then to control that arrow mark, we need Python. The connections, we are talking about the connections. Next, what about SQL? SQL is required for the right side, OLTP and data warehouse, you need SQL to query and filter the data. What about right side? Right side, we don't require SQL, but we require Power Query to filter the data. Remember, Power Query also for ETL activities, nice user interface. But Power Query is mainly used for non-database data sources, usually. Because for database sources, we have parameters, filters, everything. So here comes mostly Power Query and Python analytics, not programming, analytics. Whereas here comes SQL, respective SQL, TSQL, PLSQL, whatever it is, SQL. And Python analytics is common. In fact, complete warehouse runs on Python here, PySpark and other things. So how to plan your resume? Simple. Based on your experience. For example, you are from a SQL developer background. Try to upgrade to warehouse, big data, cloud computing activities. These are all cloud computing. We call it big data. It has ETL structures. We can sell our resume for a better price. If in case you are into data analysis, then forget the right side part. If we are into data analysis, junior data analysis, forget the right side part. Of course, we need SQL, but focus mainly on the left side part to start with. So for data analysis, put more keywords on different types of files, more on Power Query, more on Python. If your profile is into SQL developer job role already, try to upgrade yourselves to warehouse, cloud computing, put more on big data. Choose any one, may not be all, but one or two. For example, our Azure data engineering course involves Synapse and Spark. Our AWS data engineering course involves Redshift and Spark. Our Snowflake full stack includes Snowflake and Spark. It depends. But remember, everywhere Power BI can be an awesome preferred paint or the creamy layer of your backend activities. I repeat again, starter profile. If it is data analyst, concentrate mainly on the first left side part. In such a case, don't ignore Python. Experienced people, if they are into SQL developer, try to upgrade to warehouse. You no need to have separate care for Python, not required truly. Why? Because Python is part and parcel of every big data here. So part of our classes, either you go for Snowflake with a different trainer, or Amazon Redshift, AWS data engineering separate trainer, or me, Synapse and Spark, Azure engineering, or we have SAP separate trainer anyway, and Oracle BI, one more. Anywhere, everywhere. Remember, it's all about how efficiently we read the data. Next, certification. Exclusively for Power BI, we have one certification called PL300. But very recently came something else called Fabric. What is it? Fabric we call. Fabric has the required components to result in Synapse data warehouse, Spark data warehouse, and something else called Lake House. And one more, called one lake. If someone already having experience on warehouse, then you can step into fabric. Both are having their own advantages, one lake and lake house. One lake is mainly for storing the files. Lake house will store files, OLTP databases, and warehouse databases. Everything is called lake house. One lake will store only files. Lake house will store files, OLTP, warehouse, mostly warehouse instead of OLTP, mostly, majority cases. But few cases we can store live data also in a lake house. The fabric is again a separate story for us, another 1.5 month course for us. That's different. I'm giving you the resume plan. Plan it very carefully. Include the OLTP and or warehouse for experienced professionals. Starters, data analysis wing, mostly files and apps or other website, etc. Data sources with Python, and good to boost MS SQL keywords. And finally, PL 300, common certification for everyone. Exam 1, PL 300, common for everyone. Very recently, Microsoft came with another certification for Power BI. It is Azure Data Engineering Plus Power BI Plus Fabric, called DP600. In olden days, we used to have DP500, Data Engineering Plus Power BI, Synapse Spark with Power BI, DP500. Now it got retired. We got Power BI Plus, Azure Plus, these items. Together, there is one single certification. Let me just mark it this way. For stepping into this particular certification, we need MS SQL. It's required. Without MS SQL, we cannot touch Synapse, we cannot touch Lakehouse. Lakehouse and Synapse work on MS SQL only. Remember that. So the type of queries we do in Lakehouse, let me take it this way. The type of queries we do in Lakehouse are as is similar to regular transact SQL only. For example, something the regular SSMS tool only. We use the same management studio with Fabric. Extension of Azure Data Engineering, we have Fabric. Every .SQL file will work. Either you take one lake or lakehouse, it works with transact SQL, regular TSQL only. So TSQL is the boss for the red items. Hope you got some idea where Power BI stands and how we can plan our resume in an appropriate way to have more meaning for our recruiter and the scrutiny process. Let's make sure we curate our resume carefully. In case you need any assistance, support, do reach me. Glad to assist you. With this, at SQL School, we ensure step-by-step practical classes from scratch, right from the basics. We value your time. We value your resume. We'll make sure your resume is meaningful and at the same time more valuable in terms of technical stuff, both for the job desk as well as for interviews. What more you are waiting for? Come on, let's have a live demo session. Let's meet for the live demo. You may plan to upgrade yourselves for MS SQL, Azure, AWS, Snowflake. We have Power BI, Python, Postgres, SQL, database administration, data science, Salesforce, cyber security, and SAP. And these are the list of courses you see on the screen. As on date, 32 courses, various experienced and fully filtered, cautious, interested trainers who would literally touch your feet. We at SQL School, we are the trainers and we literally touch your feet and guide you for your course. Make sure we do on-time practice throughout the classes. Let's meet for the live demo session. Let's understand more about our courses. Let's understand more about your resume. Let's understand more about our job plan. And we'll take it from there slowly, step by step into our learning process. Thank you so much. Have a nice time. Thank you once again. See you there in the live demo session.